Hey guys, how's it going? This is James Tripp with a video for James Tripp Chaos Wave. I want to explore the topic of the ultimate hypnotist. I want to share a few thoughts, a few frames around this, because it's just something I've been mulling and musing over in the back of my mind. And I'm going to say this is an exploration here. I'm not going to come up with a definitive answer. It is impossible to do so. It will be crazy of me to do so. Whatever answer I come up with as to what constitutes the ultimate hypnotist will be based on my values. It will be based on my understandings, my beliefs, my perceptions of what's possible, which is going to be different from yours. So this is going to be a fundamentally controversial thing. I'm going to invite you, by the way, and I'll mention this again at the end, please do feel free to use the comment section below to share your idea, your rendering of the ultimate hypnotist. But for now, let's explore a few frames on this. And I would like to begin with how I came to hypnosis. Now, some people have heard this story before, but basically 2002, I was 29 years old, and I was a guy that didn't really feel like he was in the driving seat of his life. I didn't feel like I had a lot of power in the world. I didn't feel like I fitted in. I didn't feel like I had any influence. A whole bunch of problems apparently on my plate. And I had been engaged in self-development for quite a long time at this point, for actually 10 years. And I had made progress, so whatever state I was in, it wasn't as bad as where I'd come from. But through means of studying philosophy and a lot of martial arts training, qigong, meditation stuff, this kind of thing. But I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And I'm watching late night television, the Jonathan Ross show comes on, and there's this guy on there, Derren Brown. I'd never seen him before. He'd had one TV special here in the UK, but he came on and he did amazing things, absolutely mind-blowing things. And in my mind, I thought, whoa, if I could do what that guy can do, that would be the answer to all my problems. I would totally be able to get into the driving seat of my life. I would totally be able to understand other people, move them in the directions that I wanted to, recruit them to my cause, all sorts of wonderful things, all sorts of doors it seemed would open up to me. And so I jumped on the internet, which was a crude thing at the time, back then. Mostly text, no video certainly. I don't think a lot of images even. And I found this page, which was just rmdj.com or something it was called. I don't know what the letters stood for, but it was a resource page for people who wanted to know what Derren Brown was doing. And that was my doorway in, because there were books on there on NLP. They blew my mind. And there's a couple of things that really drew me in with NLP. Number one was modeling, and the idea that anyone who was good at anything, including personality patterns, patterns of engagement with the world, they were patterns that were modelable, that were learnable, you could extract from people and put into yourself. That was a very impactful thing for me, and it's continued to be so. But the other thing that really captured my imagination at the time was the idea of conversational hypnosis. That you could somehow influence the movement of other people's minds, influence the decisions they would make, the experiences that they would have, simply through the words that you use, maybe combined with some actions, this kind of thing. That really, really captured my imagination. Now, part of the reason I think that captured my imagination is because of this cultural idea of hypnosis as being some sort of magical mind control technology. So in my mind, if I could learn to do that conversationally in everyday circumstances, I could influence all manner of outcomes in positive directions. And that just seemed like a massive win to me. Now, across time, so if I was going to go back to then, and the 29-year-old me was going to say, what does the ultimate hypnotist look like? The 29-year-old me would have an image of somebody who could pretty much make anybody do anything. Just go about through the world, utter a few magic words, and people would do whatever they wanted to. That was really what the ultimate hypnotist would have looked like back then. Now, this is a sort of archetypal figure, or maybe a stereotypical figure, but it doesn't really exist. There's truth in that idea, but that idea is not true. I would say now, from all my experience of 16 years after that, 16 years worth of exploring with hypnosis, it doesn't quite work like that. So a lot of people will have heard me say that hypnosis is not mind control. I've had this debate in comment sections, here on YouTube and Facebook and different places. People say, James, why do you keep saying hypnosis is not mind control? Why is it so important for you to... Because it isn't. It isn't mind control. Human beings are dynamic systems, and they are complex systems. They are not any more complex than you think, they are more complex than you can think. So there are always a lot of variables at play that you never get to see. So really, the art of hypnosis is very often nudging the system and seeing what kind of response you get, and then adapting to that response. You're working with that system collaboratively, and it's a complex system. It's just like if you're playing tennis, you're playing with another player. However skilled you are, you cannot make it so you can control the other player. You just get to engage skillfully with the dynamics of the game. And if you do it well, there's going to be some variance of randomness and chaos in the moment, some variance of skill, all manner of other things going on, a lot of intersections there. If you do it well, you're going to be generally better at winning games of tennis. But you'll never be somebody who can always guarantee to beat anyone, anytime, any place, anywhere. So there is no ultimate in that sense. There is no ultimate in that sense. Often when I think about this, I remember when I was younger, so much younger than today, I used to play Virtua Fighter a lot. I think it was on the Sega. Actually, no, it was earlier than that. I used to play Mortal Kombat. This is what I'm thinking about. It's a video game, it's a beat 'em up. Two players face each other off. And I would play with my friends Stuart, Tony, and Simon. Now, basically the way it would work is I would pretty much consistently beat Stuart. Stuart would pretty much consistently beat Tony. And Tony would pretty much consistently beat Simon, and Simon would pretty much consistently beat me. So none of us were like head and shoulders above the rest, but each of us had a style that would be better against someone else. So it kind of all panned out in the end. And you get that in any area where people have expertise. Even for a while, you might get someone who is head and shoulders the champion. They have a championship run in any sport, for example. So you could take a boxer who could be on top for a long time. But in the end, they meet someone who's better. Time rolls on, the dynamics change, little things change, and they meet someone who's better. So there is nobody who is the best in the world at anything when it comes to stuff that's to do with interacting with other human beings. And this is why, for me, hypnosis is not mind control and never is. Some hypnotists out there, some hypnosis teachers will adamantly say, no, it is. You can make people do things against their will. That's not even a simple statement. What is will? But the truth is, if your average stage hypnotist could control, or if there was a stage hypnotist out there who could control people's minds all the time, any situation, anytime, any place, anywhere, get anyone to do anything they want, they would not be a stage hypnotist, I can guarantee that. They would be the ruler of the Western Hemisphere or something. So what are the implications of that in terms of the ultimate hypnotist? Well, the implications of that for me is, number one, there isn't an ultimate as in, competitively speaking, the best in the world. But what would the ultimate be for you, given what's possible? What would the ultimate be for you? What is your ultimate? If you were to bring yourself to the place that you want to be in terms of hypnosis. Now, for me, I said there's some truth in that archetype, that sort of mind control archetype. There is. The truth in it is that we can get significantly better at influencing these complex, chaotic systems that are other human beings. We can get significantly better at it, just as we can get significantly better at playing tennis or kickboxing or anything, right? You put the time in, you really immerse yourself in the skills and understandings of it, you get out what you put in, you get better at it. So this is the key thing for me. What hypnosis is about for me is me being able to more effectively steer circumstances in the directions that I want in everyday life. Sometimes that's small things. I've talked in other videos about getting the substitutions I want in restaurants more often than not. There are certain situations where I might be in a deal or a negotiation. Recently I been buying property. I say recently, it was last year now, or the beginning of this year, and there are negotiations to be had. So being able to steer things in a more useful direction is useful there. A large part of what I do for income involves sitting down with people and helping them move their minds, really change their deep programming, so that they have different experiences of themselves, of the world around them. They see different options, they see different choices. They transform their capability in terms of engagement. So for me, being the ultimate, now I want to say something here which I think is really significant. When it comes to hypnosis, I think I'm going to make a separate video on this, actually. When it comes to hypnosis, context is not irrelevant. Context is not irrelevant. You could get someone who's really good at helping people shift their minds, perhaps to reduce the amount of fear they have in their life running in the background, right? And they use their hypnotic communications exquisitely in that context, but they might suck when it comes to making a deal or agreeing a price for the work or something like that. You may get someone else who's a brilliant insurance salesperson, but in their interpersonal relationships, things just keep spiraling out and going wrong. Okay, so context actually matters when it comes to hypnosis, because whilst hypnosis, and I will talk about this, I think I'll do another video, I may or may not, whilst hypnosis is a kind of delivery system in a sense, it is, what you deliver is not irrelevant. The ideas you deliver, the particular mind shifts, the way you nudge the system is not irrelevant. So if you look at the way NLP is taught, NLP really looks at the delivery system, and Erickson himself said they took the shell but left the nut, the shell being the delivery system for the nut. So when it comes to being the ultimate hypnotist, I actually recommend, by the way, that people don't try and be an ultimate hypnotist, that they actually pick a specialism, an area in which they want to use hypnosis and really go deep into that area to start with and then generalize out. But for me, the ultimate hypnotist is somebody who understands how language and communication moves minds and is cognizant of that in all of their communications. I don't mean self-conscious, but is aware and is always able to kind of evaluate their own communications, look at them through their understandings of hypnosis, and upgrade those communications in terms of the impact that they want. Another aspect, I would say, to the ultimate hypnotist, and this is a huge thing that is missed, it is absolutely missed, is when people are learning hypnosis, they're often interested in using their language and communication to move the minds of others. But what's even more important is being able to navigate the matrix of your own mind. Because if you cannot navigate the matrix of your own mind, you will keep getting stuck in rigid perspectives and trying to get results from those perspectives that are incongruent with those perspectives, right? Sometimes you can't get there from here. So you've got to be able to shift your own mind into a different state, into a different way of being, into a different way of seeing, in order to be able to communicate from that place to create the kinds of outcomes that you want. This is sort of a deeper level thing that very many people do not look at. It is actually where the real gold is. Okay, so if there's been something in this video that's been useful for you, something that switched on some neurons in your mind, opened up a new possibility, please do give the video the thumbs up, like the video. If you are interested in perspectives that you will not get anywhere else on the human mind, using your mind to shape your life, hypnosis, neuro-linguistics, all of these kind of things, make sure you hit subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the notifications bell so that you know when the videos come out. Okay, so comment section below. What's your ultimate hypnotist? I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any questions about anything I shared here, please do put those in there as well. And until we continue this conversation, keep on creating your life.